Welcome to the free audio rendering of Not Without Scars 2. Such an insightful and impactful work must be accessible to the countless number of people living similar life experiences. Becoming a best-selling author pales in comparison to creating a tool capable of instilling hope in a multitude of people trapped in the valley of decision. My greatest profit comes in helping others emerge victorious over their life struggles. My goal is to encourage individuals to follow their dream. My message: you must never quit on your faith, pursuing your aspiration or vision. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Take a moment, invite your family, friends, and acquaintances and enemies to listen to this work chapter by chapter. It is free to listen as well as free to subscribe. Peace, love, and phenomenal blessing.
How do I write my life story? I know hurt and pain. I don't like either one, whether physical or emotional. Herein contains my story, Not Without Scars, Part 2. Optimism, perseverance, persistence, resilience. 2 decades of personal struggle. Optimism. I faced the new millennium with hopefulness. Perseverance. My ego, my humble beginnings, my desire to achieve never allow me to turn away from a difficult task. Persistence. Opposition should be anticipated as an effective strategy to victory surfaces. Resilience. Difficulties do not automatically spell termination. Scars reveal my imperfection as reminders of past episodes of pain, sorrow, or triumph. Scars can tell beautiful story endings or relay misery that wishes to remain anonymous. This work is meant to help others who have experienced decades of struggle. When struggles appear to never end, you must get through the night and face the challenge of a new dawn with fresh hope.
Chapter 5. The Cleveland Academy of Math, Science, and Technology. Introduction. I had long held hope of operating a school for the youth of the Black community. Too many of the parents of children feel the public school system fails their children. I've had to restructure the initiative to address the needs of the failed children. The charter school movement appeared my most immediate opportunity to fulfill my goal. Years of hopes and dreams can be measured in the culmination of related and unrelated events. Staying the course, the effort will in many instances result in a positive outcome. My foray into the education realm had every intention of developing an alternative for the already too many failing Black children. Was I pretending to hold a magical fix by launching one charter school that I hope to expand upon as a sponsor of other charter schools? No, I was not in possession of a magical wand of any sort. I was in possession of the correct desire, a desire for the success of the school and its students. Did I have a utopian concept in mind? No, not quite, but I did maintain the prospect of building and erecting a bastion of hope. My mind pushes me to produce. Robust production for me means a greater manifestation of opportunities for the community to progress. What better way to enlighten a community than to start with the children, setting them up on a path toward their ultimate success? I was most optimistic that the school, with its student population, would create the perfect hub for community-oriented program development. I envisioned great things unfolding for the community. I could put together creative avenues for learning and consistent support for students and families. Historical. It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. Aristotle. Desire without the skill. My good name and reputation could not overcome the legal requirement for a clear past record to be an administrator or even present on the grounds of the school. However, I would be encouraged to take the path of a management company. I created New Opportunity Development and Management, Inc. The arrangement appears something that I could surely manage. As an administrator, I had only the task of assembling the right team to ensure that the daily operational function went well. Management had always been my strong suit as an administrator. The Cleveland Academy of Math, Science, and Technology camps was my first foray into an endeavor where I had no real training or experience at producing a quality product. Education was what I had gained from others all my life. This was my first venture into providing the facility and the execution of the educational process in a contained environment. It was also the first time that I did not have absolute control over a process under my charge. Because of the involvement of multiple agencies, others were able to make decisions and fill me in later. I knew this could be a dangerous cocktail, but I trusted the people around me. Another potentially lethal concoction. The lead education director was a former military officer with military school background and operator of a charter school in Arizona. His knowledge of securing a charter school and the application maneuvering was unchallengeable. My respect for him had been earned. This gentleman was directed to me through a friend from Oklahoma. The state of Ohio required an on site treasurer. The person that I chose for this position had worked with me on numerous projects. We had a long professional association that spanned nearly a decade. She had managed a number of grant projects. I felt she would be trustworthy over multiple funding streams that were going to be much larger than anything previous assigned her responsibility. Another function that was most concerning to me about the state mandated structure of the process was the fact that I could not have my name on any financial banking records. At least I had a CPA. He had been my accountant and friend on many endeavors over my time in Cleveland. I come to rely on his financial expertise. He was the CPA for multiple organizations with which I had affiliation directly and indirectly. His level of professionalism did not require a litmus test. This helped me feel that I had a built in layer of security in moving forward. The technical side of the enrollment and the management of the student with the state was part of the treasurer's job description. I felt the consolidation of those powers in one position was a bit much. These were the guidelines, and I had accepted this arrangement. I felt this occasion provided an opportunity to make a difference. The scenario to create a model of my own design. I simply could not afford to pass up what had materialized. Perfect, not by a long shot, but what had ever been perfect in my life. I moved forward with the confidence in myself that this would have an outcome as near perfect as possible while overshadowing all imperfection. An ability to learn as the endeavor unfolded, of course. I had done this on multiple occasions. This project would be conquered as any other challenge. Launching out into the deep did not create fear within me. My paths are always exposed perils. My focus was on beautiful pearls that lie ahead. Social Black experience. Success is to be measured not so much by position that one has reached in life as by the obstacles which he has overcome while trying to succeed. Booker T. Washington. The experience of education in America. When people have surpassed their limits or loyalty capacity, their cup can easily run over with greed and vicious imagination. Those closest to you can harbor bitterness and envy for years without having the slightest awareness of their true feelings towards you. When you recognize their colors, the poisonous venom has already been injected into your life stream. My lifelong education has been in the classroom, in the streets, in the prisons, and inside my head. I have faced failures and delays more than most people. The reason behind this assessment, I have engaged in more endeavor than most people. A Major League Baseball player is considered a superstar if he is successful at bat only 30% of the time. He is considered a 300 hitter. A strikeout does not have to end a game or a career. And certainly, a strikeout does not have to conclude one's life. Life is filled with obstacles. I have learned the more successful one becomes, the higher the obstacles one has to scale or hurdle. Exhaustion from the game of life and its challenges forces many individuals into premature or early retirement. Education for a black man in America tends to be subjected or submissive, as he may be radical or independent. The education playing field is not level for a black man. Sometimes he is expected to perform without knowing the rules or having experienced a view of the field at all. As difficult as it may be, life commands a level of learning to survive or thrive. Through systematic instruction or an enlightening experience, everyone will achieve a level of education during their lifetime. The two may be in harmony or pitted against one another. Individuals may esteem one above the other. Yet, the one labeled a dropout has rejected both as as the label of his or her education essential. My lifelong quest has me on the bridge that covers the gulf or river that determines what qualifies as the best methodology to educate people. The education encompasses the basis of the pursuit of life, love, happiness, liberty, and creativity. Outside of these parallels, all else is a mute accumulation of knowledge that may never directly impact the life of an ordinary citizen. Profound exploits can fill the treasured halls of academia. Contribution of scholars should never face minimization. However, successful living in America for a black man rests with ingenuity, social skill, and the courage to face the unknown with an attitude of triumph. The mission to achieve education cannot be contained nor defined by the content of a textbook. Theological. Train up a child in the way he should go, and in keeping with his individual gift or bent. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. Proverbs 22, verse 6, Amplified Bible Classic Edition. The reality of faith profession. As early as awareness exists within a child, the training, the education must begin. No able minded parent leaves their child to his or her own devices. Rules, guidelines, and principles for life begin from the moment the egress from the womb has been identified. A child's gifts are cultivated by the environment in which he or she has the greater exposure. Some lessons last a lifetime. These morals may broaden with experiences, but the sustainable value that commences at the embryonic stages of learning remains when the apex has been reached. The summit of an individual education cannot be judged by the letters behind their name, but by the ability to live harmoniously with others when nobody else knows your name. Faith becomes a reality in the crucial moments of life. When issues cease to be theory, reality commands a profession of faith having the strength to hold the anchor in the shifting of one's core. Core value must not only be non-negotiable, they must be steadfast and unmovable. Faith has to reign over what presents a visual context. The reality of my faith profession has always been challenged through dark experiences. I have had to rely on my consciousness and faith to garner the courage to grasp hold of hope in the most dismal of circumstances. The seed of training, the seed of faith planted in my youth has served to keep my mind together when the world and life have dealt me a bad hand to play. However difficult the odds, the seed of training, the seed of faith compels me to continue looking for the next winning hand. train the child to be a victorious human being. When he has matured chronologically, he will be victorious over any challenge. 2000 to 2003 Optimism Summation. A story worth telling. What I had overcome in my past 16 years of incarceration between the ages of 20 and 40. Optimism flowed through every fiber of my being. Not without scars, the original was a story worth telling. I felt in the depths of my soul that the new millennium story would eclipse whatever the past had encompassed. The mere fact that I was still alive and coherent summoned a reason to express my story worthy of pen and paper. Above that, I felt that I had so much to contribute to humanity that I was on the cusp of an adventure far beyond what my imagination could construct. B, visibility in the community. Visibility in the community was never a celebrity seeking trip for me. Serving the people, my action worked to increase my facial recognition. With the recognition comes the responsibility of addressing people respectfully, no matter the locus. Interviews on new broadcasts, public affairs television, sponsoring gospel rap concerts, and other neighborhood festivities were all elements that provided identification with the people. It also made me conscious of my actions at all times. In addition, I saw the people in their natural state as I was accepted among them as an authentic person who sincerely cared about their well being. Plus, I was not seeking their vote to help me secure some political office. See, life on the stage. Once on the stage, I had to perform, or rather, produce an initiative, positive enlightenment. The validity of my presence echoed in my delivering to the people, a sincerity of the causes that I embraced. My life spoke for itself. There was no need to enhance my relationship with people. I consistently sought alternative methods and options to improve the quality of life for the people I encountered. I never felt pressured. What I was doing, I loved doing it. It was in my nature and in my heart to help others. I enjoyed my family, my life. Yet, I felt I had to remain engaged with the people. D, cross-cultural ministry. Cross-cultural ministry was ingrained in my expression of the gospel. I had planted a church in Ohio, in the Ohio Church of God denomination, Findlay, Ohio. Ministry across racial lines was not a foreign concept to me. It was these opportunities that came to me, and I was prepared to serve. A servant has to be prepared to serve, as a soldier has to be prepared to be a soldier before the war breaks out. I discovered the cross-cultural ministry would not demand one to abandon one base, but rather to provide the opportunity to expand one's capacity to serve and invite others into an orbit that may be totally unfamiliar. The application of cross-cultural ministry reminded me of how far I had come from a young lad growing up in apartheid rural America. It also spoke of the people who wished to do what was right with the resources presented them. The common bond was being a good and faithful servant to the people, no matter where life's sojourn would eventually take me. E, education institution outreach. The camps episode was ambitious to say the least. I only regret my lack of preparation for the assignment. My failure to take full control of the situation early on, whether right or wrong, was a vital mistake on my part. I became complacent with a key endeavor while I busied myself with other endeavors. Project Respect was an excellent program to get people to work through soft skills training. The partnership with the county had merit. However, it was grossly underfunded. At the same time, I had embarked upon a halfway house initiative and launched a new organization called the Righteous Men Movement. It was not so much that I spread myself too thin, but I expected others to keep up with the pace that I exhibited. That was not to be the outcome.